Well, hello there, YouTube. Genji here, and welcome back to another episode of StarRupture. You know, I just noticed sitting here that these laser drills are basically just our harvester gun attached to a tripod, right? It's the same laser, it's the same laser emitter, and I'm willing to bet these things are, what, one every 4 seconds? One every 4 seconds? I bet it's probably the same rate of mining. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, okay, so these are exactly harvesters on tripods. Good to know. So I think we'll start today's episode. I want to get into what we talked about last episode with redesigning or refactorizing our chemical to sulfur to hardening agent pipeline. But before we do that, we are going to need some goethite ingots for that. And I have been doing some, well, I had originally done research. I continued my research because people still argue about this, how to officially pronounce goethite or goethite. I've seen goethite, I've seen goethite, I've seen goethite. Google even suggests that there are some people that pronounce it gaytite. So we're not going to go with that one, but I think we're going to pick what is supposedly the American pronunciation of goethite. But either way, we're going to need a lot of the stuff in many different forms, including the goethite ingots that we're already producing here, as well as wolfram steel ingots and titanoferrite ingots. But I think we're pretty close to what we're going to need here with our 3 factories. Let's take a look at Rupture Planner and see just how many of each we're going to need. So we're going to need a total of 9 laser drills. Make sure this is centered here, producing 651 goethite ingots in 5 pyroforges, 245 titanoferrite ingots in 2 pyroforges, and 329 wolfram steel ingots in 3 pyroforges. So in all, we're going to need 10 pyroforges, right? 5 and 5. Hopping back over into StarRupture here, I think our current restriction is our heat level. So I'm going to have to build another tower of base core amplifiers like we have over here for the actual laser drills themselves. So we're going to reproduce this real quick. You don't need to watch me rebuild the whole thing because we already covered that, but I do need some additional thermal capacity here to handle all the pyroforges that we're going to need. And it looks like each pyroforge is going to cost us 180 thermal units, so we're going to need at least 1,800 total thermal capacity in this base core. So let me build a quick tower of base core amplifiers to accommodate for that, and then we'll get the factory set up. Okay, I think that should do it. Here's 5 more towers, and I did space them out by 1 this time so that I was able to get the cap on each of these. So these should each have 12 base core amplifiers each, giving us a total of 2,200 thermal capacity, which should be enough for our extra pyroforges here. So let's take a look at this again. We have 3 pyroforges currently manufacturing goethite ingots, so we're going to need 2 more of these total. Just a matter of where we're going to put them. Pyroforge. So we can do 1 on this side and 1 on that side, and that should give us a total of...
The Raptura is in its stable stage.
5.
The climate of Arcadia is returning to normal.
But I think the output side of this is full, so each one of these is producing 150 each. So we have 150, 300, 450, so this line is maxed out, so we will need... our incoming line can handle more, right? Because each one of these is only consuming 1 in that span of time, which is 15 per minute. So we can fit all of our pyroforges on here. Let's just actually make sure that we're not exceeding. I think we have a total of 150, because each one of these is producing 15 per minute. And we have 10 total, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have a budget of 150 goethite ore per minute, and we're currently consuming 15, 30, 45. So we can definitely fit our other 2 goethite ingots on here. Goethite ingot pyroforges. We'll do input from this side. We'll do input from this side. There we go, there's all 5. And we're going to need a rail modulator. Here. And a rail modulator here. we're going to need some more power. Solar generator V2s. There we go. Fix up our rails. Rail V3. Continue this through. Loop it out. Continue this through. Loop it out. And get our feed in here. Here we go. So now we're going to have to budget our output side. So we have... This is our power delivery rail. So we'll have 150, 300, 450. Then we'll have to break this last two into 150 and 300. So let's see. I do need to get this power rail out of here. And we should be able to just connect this directly to our solar panels here. Say with extendable walkway. Too much. I've had a supported pillar. That'll do. We'll get rid of this. It's not actually... Oh. Apparently that was necessary. Supported platform. Here. There we go. Makeshift staircase. Okay. So there's our power dealt with, so we don't need this anymore. To here. Alright. Rail modulator facing this direction. Out to here. Pass it on. So here's 1, 2, 3. And then we need to break this. And we need to move this, I guess, off to the side here. It's going to be in the way now. So we'll do a... We need a V2 storage depot. What's the difference in thermal capacity? It's 5 versus 40. Because we do also need to account for our dispatchers as well. Let's start with V1s. Let's lock our height here. And then if possible later, if we have the extra thermal overhead, we'll modify these to be V2s. Okay, so let's get this out of the way here. Next, let's just delete it. Get out of my way. Alright, you're gonna go over here. This is gonna be for... Goethite ingots. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to need to... I guess we'll do one of these deals here. So this will go here and here. We'll delete this. Now you can come to... You want inside or outside? Let's do inside so that the biggest one, when it turns this corner here, the larger rail will be the first one that gets deposited. So we'll do that. I think this is in the wrong spot because we need to do rail modulator like this. So our multi-rail will be here, right? So we'll pass this along the right-hand side to here. And we can build our rail modulator up one into here. To make sure that we can turn this, which I don't think we'll be able to do. I might have to put this on the other side. Yeah, that'll work. We'll put this here. Yeah, that'll work really well. So we'll delete these two. I'm a little scatterbrained at the moment, but it's all coming together. So we'll delete these two. We're gonna go to here. Which will require us to delete this again. Yeah, we'll delete this. Rail V3. Pass this through. Then we're going to do rail modulator. Up one. Bring it in. And we'll go to the center. Why not? And then we'll do this one on the right side. Bring it up one. So that we can bring this into here, and this into here, and then this can come straight down into here. And we just have to rotate this. Bring this to the left. Get in there. And then if I move these back one tile, then we can bring our rail into the right-hand side of these and then feed our dispatchers out the left-hand side. So let's move this again. And we'll put these, let's see, put the storage depot right here. We feed, let's see, our first rail. Actually, you end up doing this backwards. Now our bigger rail is on the outside. Because I was expecting this to come in on the other side of these. It's not the end of the world. We'll just have to adjust our dispatchers accordingly. So we'll feed one in this way. And then... I don't know exactly how far we're going to have to stick this out to accommodate all the dispatchers, but we'll do another one here for now. Feed this rail through. We're colliding with the rock, apparently. But for some reason, I can do that. Whatever. As long as it gets to where it needs to go. Okay. So, we'll set these to Goethite ingots. I need to restore power here with a platform, or a supported platform. Like so. Okay. Ingots are flowing. Now, do we modulate these to ensure that we have a full 480 into the first one? Because we'll essentially have, what, 450 and 300. Which is 750 minus 480 gives us 270 left over. So if we want to do that, we'll need to do a rail modulator here to make the first batch of pyroforges and the second batch of pyroforges available to our first output, and then the rest will feed into our second output. Or vice versa, since this is the smaller one, this is the larger one. We'll have to split this, essentially. This output will be split between this depot and this depot. So instead of this being a pillar support, this will be a rail modulator facing this way. That would be facing this way, which will require this to go away. Pointed this way, which will have to go up one. So we'll have to pass, basically we'll have to pass this along to here, which we know is going to require... This rock being here is really annoying. Can we do this with another multi-rail? Can we just go from here straight into here? That might be the least annoying option. So we'll just move everything over by one, because that rock is exactly in the wrong place. We'll move this up one. So now we can do a rail modulator here. Or I think this needs to go forward one, so here. I need a gap to fit the dispatchers in. So storage depot. I might actually need 2 gaps. Let's see. Dispatcher. Cargo dispatcher. So you're only going to have 1. Because you're going to have 300. Well, if we tuck this in here like this, that could work. So we'll do 1 here. And then if we have these 4 here for a second storage depot, we'll lock our Y here. We'll go 1, 2. And then we can do 1 here and 1 here. This will be a full 480, so that'll be 240 in each of those. So we'll copy this. This can go here. which means that our rail modulator will need to go here. We'll need to have one more facing that way, but we'll go like this. We'll pass this through first, pass this through into here. So there's our 450 rail coming into here. Then we'll do another rail modulator here, go up one. This is our 300 rail into here, and we're gonna split this between this depot and this depot. So this will fill in the extra 30 to bring our 450 line up to 480, and then the other 270 will go into this depot here. So we'll set both of these to Goethite. Goethite. I need to... Oh, there's one. These guys don't want to come now. There they go. Okay. So we'll fill these guys back up again. I don't know how I ended up with so many.
Let's see.
Gimme. Okay. I guess we'll just dump these for now. Drop. Since we have an unlimited amount of them. So now we just need to wire up our dispatchers here. So we'll go multi-rail 3 on this side. One here. One here, and then we'll take one output and 2 outputs so that each can have a full 480 speed, even though they're only going to be delivering or having the capacity for 240. There's one, and then you we can just wire, well, it'll look nicer if we put this into a support at least. You to you. You to you. Here we go. Actually, that didn't line up correctly. These should have been pushed in one, but whatever, it's fine. It doesn't have to be aesthetically perfect, just neat. So, there's our 3 dispatchers. So we'll call these Goethite Ingot TX1. Goethite Ingot TX2. And you'll be Goethite Ingot TX3. Accepting Goethite ingots. So there's our basic Goethite ingot. Now we don't have manufacturing set up for titanoferrite or for wolfram steel yet, but we can worry about that when we actually need those things. But we are going to need Goethite ingots for the main part of our build today, which is going to be fabricator or furnace V2s for chemicals. And let's take a look actually at the recipes here. Let me feed this guy real quick. Here, have some delicious gel. So we'll take a fabricator V2, plop this down, and we'll take a furnace V2, plop this down. So in the fabricator V2, I think the only Goethite ingot recipe is going to be tubes here, which we're going to need for applicators for hardening agent. So that does require Goethite ingots. And then in the furnace V2, chemicals and glass are going to require this. Now, heat-resistant sheets we can make with titanoferrite ingots and with wolfram steel ingots, but I'm pretty sure we're already manufacturing all the heat-resistant sheets that we're going to need. So I don't know if we'll refactor that since we're already comfortable on our production level of those. And then we have hardening agent, which we'll probably skip right to the furnace V2 recipe for this, where we're going to need sulfuric acid, synthetic silicon, applicators, and pressurized helium, which means we are going to have to set up a factory of pressurizers. If I can find a spot to put this down. Pressurizers for pressurized helium, which will just be helium-3 and sulfur ore. So that should be simple enough. But for now, we're going to go back to the drawing board. We're going to set up, I guess we're going to need sulfur. We're going to need a lot of raw sulfur before we can worry about refactoring our sulfur production. So let's go check out our sulfur acquisition area that we use in our 100% efficiency scanner build, which should be here next to the Forgotten Engine, but I'll show you on the map when I actually get over there. So our first objective, well, I guess our second objective for the day after this is going to be... Oh, hang on. I almost ran off without setting recipes on these machines. Goethite. And Goethite. There we go. So our second task of the day will be to set up sulfur extraction and dispatching. So let's head over to just southeast of the Forgotten Engine. And here's a location of our largest sulfur extraction site, which is just to the south of the Forgotten Engine here. So we use this again in the 100% scanners video, but just to recover this, let me go down to the bottom of this rift here after autosaving is done. Here we go. And the reason I picked this spot is because it's one of the largest, if not the largest, deposit of sulfur in the game. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sulfur nodes in this one little crevasse here. So this will give us 9 of the 11 sulfur nodes that we're going to need to produce 2,414 sulfur per minute to feed our needs for sulfuric acid primarily, but also pressurized helium in the pressurizer, which I think will actually get replaced. This 15 pressurizer recipe for pressurized helium will become much, much less once we get access to the compounder V2. Yeah, that knocks it down to 3. But for now, we're going to accommodate for 11 sulfur nodes because we already have access to a number of these via our existing sulfuric acid production. So if I tap these 9 nodes, it should give us more than we're going to need. But before we can do that, we're going to have to wait for the next rupture. So we'll see you in just a minute. Okay, we're ready to build. So let's start at the far end here. We already have a base core down here. It should be just wide enough to hit both ends of this canyon. So we're going to grab a sulfur extractor. We're going to hit all 9 of these and send them back to the right. But I did just notice there's a cave here, so... Well, let's do this first, one thing at a time. I'm so easily distracted. We'll get these last sulfur nodes. Let's go out this way. And then this way. And lastly... we'll go this way. Basically, we're going to channel all of these over into this flat area here where you see these 2 ignitium nodes here. But before we do that, let me grab this cave. Delicious, delicious quartz. So let's see, we have 9 of these in total. I think in the 100% efficiency scanner build, I did 2 together. I grouped up each pair of extractors to reduce the total number of rails, but I think in this one, I'll just do 3 multi-rail 3s for a total of 9 individual channels. So we'll start here, and we'll just add on to this as we go forward. So there's 1, 2. So we'll take 1 out into, say, position 2. We'll carry this forward to here. Then we'll bring this into position 1. We'll send this straight forward. So this can come into position 3 here on the right. Carry our rails through. So then we're going to have 1 full rail, let's say, here on the right. And we'll start a new rail on the left. So we'll bring through all 3 of our rails. 1. And 3. And then we'll bring in rail 4, and our next one's going to be on the right. We'll bring you on the left. I guess we'll have to... we can lane shift. It's not a big deal if we lane shift, so we'll bring this here. And then we'll have to lane shift this to the left. They don't have to run straight through. Will that be enough if we go here? Will this reach... if we take leftmost to the left, yep. And then we'll lane shift each of these to here. And that's That's 3, so this will go here. And then you can go into the middle position, and then you'll be the new right position. I think this will work just fine. 1 and 2. There's all of our rails carried through, and then you'll be the new right rail. There's 2 full multi-rails. Let's see, but we have enough room to do all 3 of these. Like this. What? Why can't I go up or down? Luck or why? There we go. Let's see, are we gonna hit the wall if we try to do this? Nope. It's gonna be tight. I guess if we have to, I can start vertically stacking these. It's just easier for now if we do wide lanes like this. You'll potentially be... Yep, our new middle lane. Okay. We're getting there. Just in time, too, because we're just about out of recovery period here. Ashfall. So we need to shift all of these way to the right. We do something like 1, 2, and 3. Would we still have gas if we have all the holes plugged, I wonder? Oh yeah, we have to do inside out. Theoretically, there should be no more gas, because we're stealing it all for industry. And 3. And then we need to shift these to the right one more time. 1, 2, 3. You're going to be on the left. Everybody else will come through. 1, 2, and then you will be number 3. You're going to be a bit difficult. Require your own extra support pillar, but there we go. We have 3 full lanes, 3 full multi-rails, which will then bring up and into this little area right here. So let's get these up to here. Say 1, 2, and 3. And 3. Okay, so now we need to get these hooked up to some power, which I suppose we could do here before we hit our dispatcher. So let's see. We put an array of solar generators. Right, we do need another base core. That's fine, because that gives us a whole new thermal load to work with. Let's just make sure this is not crossing over with anything, say, right here. Should be just fine. Nope. We need to go a little further. We have 120 on here. There we go. I had to go way out there. Okay. Fresh 1000 thermal meter. So, this is our line of dispatchers here. So each one of these is going to be 120 sulfur per minute, right? Because gas extractors all work at pure efficiency. So that means that each one of these can go into its own dispatcher. We don't have to do any kind of balancing. Although I would like to have a storage depot for each one. So let's do something like, if we bring this in along this axis here, we do 1, 2, maybe the best way to do this. Let's see, let's get the footprint of our dispatcher storage combo. Something like this. So 1, find the right height, man. Each one is different than the other. Okay, so we'll go up from here. Something like that. So we'll grab this storage. 1, 2, 3. So that'll be 1 rail. And we can do... I guess we're just side by side like this. We'll lock our Y and go 1, 2 for our multi-rail, of course. We're going to need some support pillars here. Supported platforms. So let's go down 1. Whoa, too much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll lock our Z there. And then we'll put this 1 here for the storage depot. And we'll need to go back 1, 2... It might actually be enough because of how much support this actually gives. So let's try putting these first. And then I'll just put some cosmetic pillars. Lock our Z. On the back side of this, once we actually get our dispatchers down. But with the new support rules, I think that should actually be enough to support both the storage depot and the dispatcher. So give me storage depot. We'll lock our Z again. We'll go 1, 2. Here, here, and here. Then we'll take cargo dispatchers. Here, here, and here. There we go. And then we'll bring this third one, I guess, over to here. That'll go this way, maybe? We'll take a look at that when we get to that point, but we're gonna need multi-rails here and here for each one of these. And these will come through and peel off one at a time. 1 to you. 1 to you. And whoa, not there. It's a problem with being too far away. You to you. There we go. We'll repeat that here. 1, 2, and 3. Just like that. We'll fill in this patchy floor here in a bit. But let's bring these multi-rails through. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then you will need to spin off to the right here. And we'll do... Let me get actually closer to this. I don't know why I'm way out here. So we're going to need a supported platform. We'll lock our Z right here. And we should have enough if we just do something like this. 1, 2, 3. We'll top these with pillars. 1, 2, 3. Then we can grab this, copy it, flip it. Do 1, 2, 3. Grab a storage depot. 1, 2, 3. And then I guess we're going to need another set of supported platforms here. Lock our Z because we're going to need them here, here, and here. Pillar, pillar, pillar. Then multi-rail. Lock our Z. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. Just like that. And do we want to just bring this straight through like this? Y it off instead of doing nice clean 90-degree turns. Something like that. Okay. Let me get up here. Just for looks, I'm going to patch in all these floors here. There we go. Level everything out. And lastly, we're going to need some power. Solar generators. Let's put this party in the back. Lock our Y. Our Z. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, I guess we'll put the others right here. In the back. There we go. Finally enough. Alright, let me just patch this hole here. And I see the extractors spinning. We do need to connect these out to their dispatchers, but for right now I can set all these to sulfur ore. Hey! That's not yours, don't touch it. Sulfur, 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 and what? This one says there's nothing connected. Did I mess it up? Oh! I did forget one. Uh-oh. Wait, no, there's nothing there. There's nothing... Hang on, redo. Okay, so you come in on the left. We're only missing one rail here, so everything here should be shifting to the right one. So this middle one is going to become the far right. This one's going to become the middle. 1 and 2. There we go. So now we have this open lane on the left, which is where autosave comes in. Which is where you come in. So now we have all 9 rails filled. Oh. These are fruit. I was saying this earlier, I was like, it'd be neat if those things were actually harvestable. They are harvestable. I don't know if I've ever done that before. Or what they're good for besides poisoning you. So now we are somehow short. Oh, never mind. We're getting bugged. I was like, everything was hooked up before. Thank you, gun, for disappearing on me in the middle of a shot. Okay, so none of these depots are full yet. So I should have... Oh, let's set you to sulfur ore. So I should have a full... There we go. Super highway of sulfur coming in here. Beautiful. So next we have to hook up our storage depots to our dispatchers. Like so. And we just need a name and we're good to go. So I believe we're already using 1 or 2 of these. Let's see. In use. We've got sulfur 1 through 4 is currently in use. So this is going to be Sulf TX 5. Hopefully I don't have another dispatcher out there that's got that name, because you can't actually see, you can only see the receivers here, cargo receivers. You can't see the list of dispatchers. I guess I could just throw down a receiver real quick. And then from here we can take a look at the available dispatchers. So we have sulfuric acid. We do not have any more, so it's only 4 sulfur dispatchers. So you will be sulfur 5. Where's all my sulfur? Why are you empty? You're detecting sulfur ore, I think. These are partially empty too. Why aren't you full? Where's your other 5? What's going on here? Something ain't right. Why are you... No base core? What? That's right there. That's how I was able to build you in the first place. What do you mean no base core? Like, you're inside that base core there. I think this is an ongoing issue. The same issue that was causing our smelters. If you remember a few episodes back when I was building a few episodes, it's like half the season at this point. The in our ore smelting basin, the very last machines on the top and bottom of our ore smelters that just so happened to be the ones that were skirting the boundary of a base core just stopped working. Like they had a full stack of input materials and they were set to manufacture bars, but they just weren't doing anything until I destroyed them and remade them. I think it has something to do with being right on the border of a base core, because this is exactly what's happening with this sulfur extractor being on the edge. And of course now our rails are in the way, so I can't rebuild this. I'm gonna have to break all this down, replace this, and then replace our rails. Go up there. You can go into there. And everybody's happy now. There we go. What about you? You are even further in, and you're not working either. No base core. Well, you are absolutely 100% inside of a base core. You're well within the bounds of this base core. I'm gonna have to go check on that side as well, because those are also right at the edge. Something very weird is going on in this update. This hotfix. Sulfur extractor, of course. We're gonna have to redo all of our rails again. Okay, everything's hooked back up. Our sulfur extractors are functioning again for now. We do have some stuck sulfur here. We'll just take everything off this rail. Okay, now everything is flowing through. I'm just gonna backtrack and check our extractors at the far end. Okay, everything down here seems to be okay. I'm gonna grab these soul hearts while we're here. Let me figure out what we can use them for. Okay, let's go check. Ooh. Ooh. Let's go check our storage depots. Okay, I see green. I see green. Okay, I think we're good for now. So let's try to name these guys again. So this is going to be Sulf TX5. Sulfur ore. Sulf TX6. Sulfur ore. And Sulf TX13. Okay, there's all the sulfur ore that we're going to require set up into dispatchers. So now we need to bring this back to our, well, it's going to go to a few different places, but for right now we're going to use it at our chemical plant in order to process this stuff into sulfuric acid and then hardening agent. So let's head back. Okay, we're back at our chemical base. I'm going to need to take a moment here to reacquaint myself with what exactly we did here. So I know we only did a partial chemical construction. So this is wolfram powder. This is chemical. So we only did, I think it was 8 furnaces here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then we have some sulfuric acid set up over here. But I think what we're going to do is nuke both of these so that we can then put down our V2s. Furnace V2s, and then do our proper stack of refineries, or pressurizers, whatever they're called now. So let's take a look at our recipe here. So our V2 recipe for chemicals requires 1 calcium powder, 2 wolfram powder, 4 helium-3, and 1 goethite ingot. So I know we have calcium powder and wolfram powder here. Interestingly, it doesn't actually take any synthetic silicon, so we'll be able to redirect all of our synth silicon to something else. So we're producing wolfram powder here, and I think we're using our calcium powder, yeah, in the production of ceramics, which we're also not going to need now. Was ceramics part of chemicals? No. Ceramics was part of synth silicon? Ceramics is synth silicon, okay, so we're not actually going to need that, but we can redirect that synth silicon elsewhere, because it was definitely used in at least one more recipe. So for right now, Yeah, synth silicon, wolfram powder times 3, and helium times 1. So we're losing some wolfram powder. We're 4xing our helium-3 input, and we're adding goethite. And this is a 4 over 2 seconds, so this is 4 times 30, which is 120. So each one of these is going to produce 120, so we can fit 4 of these on an output rail. We need to work out our ratios for our input rails here, but I guess we'll start by demolishing our chemical production, including what I assume is our helium input here. Goodbye. And these will be our first furnace V2s. And we're going to lose our big chemical dump here, which is going to create a big old mess. So let me empty these out over here. Okay, let's finish clearing this out. And our footprint for this is going to have to change as well, because these furnace V2s are now 4 by 5. We'll take a look at that once we get all of these rails taken down. And I think we might want to lose these wolfram furnaces as well. I think we're not going to need quite as many of these now. Auto-saving, thank you. Yeah, because this is producing, each one of these is producing 3. This is 90 per minute. And we pop down another furnace V2. Our chemical recipe is only going to be consuming 2. So we could, I guess, technically reuse these and just not use the full output of this, which wouldn't be the end of the world. But before I do that, let's actually take a look at the recipe to see how many of these furnaces we're going to need. And it looks like we're going to need 10 of these, which is still quite a lot, but it's half of the number that we had previously. I think we had 20 furnace V1s to produce this amount, which is much more palatable. So we'll set up 10, which I guess we can do in 2 rows of 5, but we'll have to see how we have to break up our input rails. Will kind of inform us of how we should be laying these out. Okay, so I've deleted all of our furnaces for chemicals and all of our furnaces for wolfram powder. I moved back our multi-rails that feed our dispatchers here for synth silicon, just so that we have this full area in between our current pressurizers for sulfuric acid. We'll probably end up tearing these down and moving them. They are currently feeding these dispatchers here that are feeding into our turbine factory that we made in the last episode. So we'll leave that there for now. I did also leave this receiver right here for wolfram bars, just so I have a reference for which dispatcher is connected to. But we will probably end up having to move this as well. But just for reference, we're using WBAR RX4. So my plan is this. If I plop down a furnace V2 here, just to check recipes. So our new V2 chemical recipe is going to require 1 calcium powder, 2 wolfram powder, 4 helium-3, and 1 goethite ingot every 2 seconds to produce 4 chemicals. Now we know, based on our rupture planner here, that we're going to need 10 furnace V2s worth of chemicals to produce 1089.7 chemicals per minute to be used downstream. These 10 furnace V2s are going to inform how many of each of these materials we're going to need to balance onto our rail, since we're going to be exceeding the capacity of a 480 item rail for most of these materials across all 10 of these furnaces. But it allows us to do our mental math to kind of plan how we're going to set this factory up. So starting at the beginning here, we're going to need 1 calcium powder every 2 seconds is 30 per minute, times 10 is 300 calcium powder per minute. Now, our furnace V2s have a V2 calcium powder recipe that takes 2 calcium blocks and produces 10 every 3 seconds, which is 200 per minute. So with 2 of these furnace V2s running calcium V2, we'll have the requisite 300 per minute of calcium powder that we'll need for our chemical recipe. So we're going to need 2 furnace V2s producing calcium powder. We do have some existing calcium powder furnaces here, but those are all currently being used up for producing synthetic silicon. And I'm not going to interrupt that. We're just going to leave that part of the factory as it is, because we don't even actually need the synthetic silicon for this new chemical recipe. Moving along, 2 wolfram powder every 2 seconds times 10 is going to be 600 wolfram powder every minute. Our V2 furnaces do also have a V2 wolfram powder recipe. This is 2 wolfram bars every 2 seconds, produces 10 wolfram powder, which is 300. So if we have 2 furnace V2s creating wolfram powder V2, that's the exact 600 per minute that we'll need. So we'll also have 2 furnace V2s for wolfram powder. Moving along, we know our helium 3 is 4 every 2 seconds times 10 is going to be 1200 helium 3 per minute. That's going to be, let's see, if we divide 1200 by 240, that's going to require 5 receivers, each pushing through 240 items per minute. So we'll have 5 cargo receivers in there as well. And then goethite ingots will use the same calculation as calcium powder, so we know we're going to need 300 of this. So that's going to be 2 receivers, each one pushing 240. So my plan is to, instead of having just a continuous line of furnace V2s for chemicals, we'll kind of split up our groupings of furnace V2s. So we'll do our 2 furnace V2s together for wolfram powder and for calcium powder. So something like this one. We should be okay to do them together like this. And then if we do a second floor of these, which is going to look like one, two, let's see, is that going to be enough? It actually looks like it's going to be just shy of getting us over the top of this, so we'll probably want to push this up another 2, maybe? Let's see. Actually, let's do our math first before we guess and fail. So we're going to lock our position with T, and we'll go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, at 13, it switches from colliding to not connected. So 13 is the number to hit, which means we'll actually need to come up 1 from our base level here, which is going to be just too much to do with our base supported platform. So we have to go down to the bottom. So let's go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instead of 6. And if we go up with a pillar, that's 6, which gives us a total height increase of 1. So we'll do the same thing here. Destroy this and this. We're going to bring this up 1. Pillar support, platform. Then we can do 1, 2, 1, 2. That should give us a total offset of 13. Then we can grab this, bring it up 13. And we're going to need more support. Let's see if we can bring up this side and then connect the 2 together. Otherwise, we'll have to just put a space. So we'll put this here. We can't go up 1 here, so we'll go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pillar, platform. I guess we don't technically need that platform, but 1, 2. Actually, can I delete this platform? I can. That is not needed in this particular case. It doesn't hurt to have it there, but ever the perfectionist I am. So 1, 2. Now, can we throw a platform between this? We cannot. Can we do it across here? We can do it this way. We can do it this way. What are we missing here? 1, 2, 3, 4. We're just shy. We're missing 1 set of pillars here in the middle. Probably because this is requiring 1 extra pillar down here. That's so tragic. If this was a bit flatter to the ground, it would have been just fine. Let's see something here. If I level this, when we take this at a fix our Z level, it looks like we're not going to hit anything. So if we brought this whole assembly down by 1, we should be perfectly fine. So let me get rid of these. We're going to do away with this. I'm going to bring this whole thing down by 1. And that should reduce the number of pillars we need by 1 and allow that gap to disappear. So let's try that. put these here, which means we can take these down. So, if we can go up one here, we can't go up one here. Okay. Two pillars on each of these. Okay. Now, can we do... We can do this now. Perfect. So that means we can grab this, raise this up, lock our Z. 1, 2. I actually need to spin these around. They're facing the wrong way, but we know it will work for us, so... Face them this way. Beautiful. So now we can do 1, 2 for wolfram, 1, 2 for calcium powder, and then feed this into our groupings of furnace V2s. Now, as far as the actual groupings, I think our biggest limiter as far as determining how we should group up our furnace V2s is going to be Helium 3 because it requires the most. So at 4 every 2 seconds is 4 times 30, which is 120. That means each receiver for Helium 3 is only going to be able to feed 2 furnace V2s. So, how should we group these up? So we have these two, and then we're going to need a set or a pair of furnace V2s. Now I wonder, given the amount of height that we can now support, I wonder if we can do something like 2 furnaces and then a receiver on top, and then each stack of furnaces essentially will have its own Helium 3 receiver on top. So let's see. We're going to need at least 1 space for cargo receivers for Goethite. So we'll put 1 here just as a placeholder, and we can build up from here. And then we're going to place our furnace V2. Our Z is already locked, so we'll space this out by 1. And then we'll take our supported platform. We'll go up 1, lock our Y, or lock our Z. 1, 2, 3. This one in the back is going to give us some trouble, but I guess technically we can go forward 1. It shouldn't really make a difference given the small footprint of these guys. So if we go up 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Platforms here. Build another one of these guys. Right here. Can we... They're always backwards. Build you. There we go. Can we go up? I guess we'll do 1, 2, 3. Should be fine. Either that or we build a second set of pillars here to go to the exact height, which might be a better idea. This will be, what, 13 and 13 is 26. 26 is 24 and 2. So if we go up, I don't know if we'll have enough height. Well, we should have enough height to go up 2. So if we do 1, 2 in the front here. 1, 2 on the side here. And we go up 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we do a platform. A platform. Do we have enough left over to stretch? 1, 2, 3. We can't do 4. Oh, we're actually back 1. So if we do this... There we go. That should be the footprint that we're going to need. So if we do cargo receiver, we can do a cargo receiver on top. So our Helium 3 for each pair can come in from the top. I don't know exactly how I want this to cascade down. Let's see. If I do a rail connector... But maybe... I mean, it'll really be dictated by where our other horizontal rails are coming in, and then we can squeeze that down. We can probably just loop it down with rail connectors. That we'll have to see in just a bit here, but let's try Let's build one more of these just so we can run our rails forward, and then we'll try a sample setup here, and if that works, we'll just reproduce it. So, copy this, please. We'll copy this. And we'll put it right here. And we'll go up to here. Look at that, we don't even need to build another set of pillars just yet. I do actually want to spin these around just so that we can have all of our outputs facing the same direction, so... Let me do this. Let's do our output facing this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. That way we can do our rail modulators collecting and then going to the right, instead of having to bring our output around from the back and then forward again. Wouldn't make a huge deal.
I'm detecting increased
But,
rupture activity.
Of course you are.
Prepare for a wave.
Every time I start to get into the swing of something, you come and interrupt me. Okay, now that we're finally allowed to play the game, let's get this sample stack here wired up. So we have our 4 furnaces here for wolfram powder and calcium powder. We have our receiver here for goethite ingots. We have 4 furnace V2 heres out of our 10 for producing chemicals. And I do need to actually stick another receiver here on top. So let's duplicate this platform layout here. So we're going to go up by 1, lock our Z. We're going to do 1 here. We're going to do 1 here. And I'm going to go up 1, 2 here. And I think here for our receiver on top. So we do 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2. Platforms all around. Platform. We're going to throw down our cargo receiver on top. Right here. So these are for Helium 3, and then chemicals. So, as far as getting all of this wired up, obviously we're going to need 4 inputs, discrete inputs for each of these, 1 for each of our materials. So I'm going to start on the left-hand side here. We're going to use rail connectors. We're going to go down 1, 2. And we're going to put this on the left in front of each of these. And we're going to go up 1, 2. Then we're going to go up 2 again. 1, 2. Whoop, too far. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then 1, 2. Just like this. We're going to try to do all of our rail distribution in line, although we will have to bleed over. We're not going to, well, we'll have to do some at the end, but right here we're going to take up this airspace, but we're not going to have rail supports there. So we're going to wire up directly in all 4 of our rail connectors here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like that. Now for our first sets of rails here, first 3 sets of rails, we're just going to loop these through just like this. 1, 2, 3. Same thing on the bottom here. 1, 2, and 3. Now, we need to bring our Helium 3 down on the right here, so we're going to put rail connectors at the very top here. All the way up. Lock our Z. 1, 2. We're going to come out of the side and into the back of these rail connectors. And then our first loop is going to come down the front. Our second loop is going to come down... Oop, too far. I need this one. Our second loop is going to come down the right-hand side. Like this. We're going to bring our Helium 3 through both sets of furnaces here. Now, we need to bring the rest of our inputs in here. So this will be for our goethite ingots. We're going to do a rail connector right... Where am I? Whoa, there we go. Right here. We're going to bring this down to the bottom level here. So 1, 2.
Ruptura status stable. Arcadia status stable.
Bring this into the back. We're going to bring one directly in. And we're going to bring the other one into here. Just like so. And doing it out of the front here will leave this gap here open so that we can bring our materials in from the left here. So I was originally planning on doing like calcium, and wolfram, but with this rail layout, it's actually going to be easier if we bring this, we'll do this at this height and then this at 1, 2, this height. So instead of calcium, wolfram, we'll do calcium, wolfram, and then we can connect them up like this. So we'll come out of here into the back, pass this along to here, and then that loops through into the next one, and then we do the same thing here, up and across. So now we have calcium and wolfram into our lower set, and we'll repeat that up top here. Default height, and then up 1, 2. Bring these out, and then send them to the right. 1, 2. Just like that, and that should be all of our materials. So we have wolfram, calcium, goethite, which gets split here into top and bottom, and then helium, which comes down from the top on each. So all 4 of these furnaces right here have everything that they're going to need. Now, because we have our wolfram and calcium that we're going to need for all 10 of these furnaces are located here on the left, we do need to break these out so that they can continue to the left. So what we're going to do, we're going to put 1 rail connector here, and then we're going to bring this up 1, 2, 1 rail connector here, and then we're going to come out of the side of each of these connectors, bring these forward 1, and then these can loop into basically this connector and this connector in our next stack of furnaces here, which we're going to build right now. So we're going to need 2 of these total. So this goethite receiver is going to be feeding these 4, and then we're going to build a second one right here, which is going to receive, I guess we're also going to need 1 more for that, huh? So we'll build, I'm going to just continue the runoff from this set of connectors here into the next. So whatever's left of this goethite receiver is going to be funneled into the next set, plus this receiver that we're about to build right here, which will be our second of 2 goethite receivers. So let's lock our Z here. We're going to put this right here. So we don't need to duplicate this, because this is all the production we're going to need for wolfram and calcite, or calcium powder. But we do need to reproduce everything else forward. So this goethite receiver, these 4 furnaces, and these 2 receivers for helium here. So we're just going to rebuild what we already had here. Bring this up by 1, lock our Y, 1 here, 1 here. I need to move forward because I'm too far away. Furnace V2, right here. Duplicate our pillars on the next side. So 1 here, 1 here. Then for our receiver at the top, we're going to need to go up 1 more. Lock our Z, 1, 2. 1, 2. Each of these is going to get 2 pillars. Well, we're going to get 2, 4, 4, and 2. So the ones on the outside get 2, the ones on the inside get 4. Gonna get on this side, 1, 2. 1, 2, then 4 on each here. Platforms for all. Now, fabricator V2, and then cargo receiver on top. There we go. Now we are over our heat capacity, so we will need to deal with that at some point. And we are going to run into, well, I guess if we delete this, but we're going to need to reposition these anyway because we're going to run right up on this. So we'll continue building for now. So we're going to have another set of furnace V2s here, facing this way and at this height. So 1 here. Copy. There we go. Now, we should be able to duplicate what we had here as far as rail support. So we're going to go down 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and 4. There we go. Now we know we're also going to need this at our default height, which should be 1, 1, 2 right here. And right here. So let's grab the bottom 3 and loop them through like this. 1, 2, 3. Then 1, 2, 3. We'll bring our Helium 3 down. Come to the back. Loop it out of the front. Then loop it out of the side. Like so. Then our Goethite ingots going to come here, down 1, 2. We're going to take the output of this, send it to the right, send it up, and then also take the runoff from our first receiver and send it forward. So this will get our new receiver plus what's ever left of our old receiver. And then we're going to do the same for, hopefully, we might have to do a little rail maneuvering here, but if we're lucky, it'll just pass right through into here. Of course, it's not going to. And I assume you're going to be the same, so we'll just have to move these forward a bit. Or back a bit if we did 1, 2, and 1, 2 like this. We can send these straight to the right. No, reverse that. Reverse. If we do the taller in the back, 1, 2, the shorter in the front, 1, 2. Then we can go to the right, like this. Right, and then we just have to go from here to here, and then from here to here. Beautiful. Okay, so now our calcium and our wolfram. Well, we have to do the same thing on the second row here as well, because we do have 2 levels of this. So we're going to go... Goethite does not need to, but wolfram and calcium do. So that's going to be this at the default height, and then this at +2, 1, 2. That's going to take you and you. Now, since this loop is not in the way anymore, we should be able to go straight from here. There we go. That works. Okay, so that's taking our wolfram powder and our calcium powder, passing it along. And I think that's everything for this stack. We've got Goethite, we've got calcium and wolfram. Goethite, calcium, and wolfram, and then we have our Helium 3 coming down, our Helium 3 coming down. Okay, so that's, with the exception of actually hooking up our rails off the connectors here, so 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Now, these 4 are all wired up. So we've got 4, 8, we need 1 more stack, so basically just 1 slice like this instead of a 2x2. So we're going to take... We don't need another receiver, because these 2 receivers are going to supply all the Goethite we're going to need. We just need the runoff from this section that'll have this plus this, and then whatever's left will run off into our final stack here. So we just need to do 1 more set of furnace V2s here. Down 1. Up 13. And here. We do need another set of pillars for our receiver on top, because we do need a 5th here, right? Because we have 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be number 5. So we need pillars. 1, 2. Here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Platform. Copy our receiver. Bring it up to here. Now we're going to copy our rails again. Rail connectors. 1, 2. There's all 4. Let's run our rails in. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. We need our rail connector out from our helium receiver. Into the back. Out of the front. Out of the side. Like so. And then we need to loop through. Where are we ending here? Let's see. I don't suppose we can do straight into the side here. Nope, okay. That's fine. We'll copy our 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, like this. So we'll bring this into here, into here, into here, and then we'll wrap this around like that. Then can we do that for each one of these? 1, 2, 3. We absolutely can, just like that. Okay. So that's all of our inputs for all of our machines. Oh yeah, we need to go up. We need to come up here as well. Almost done. And in. And there we go. That should be everything that we're going to need. So now we have to hook up all of our receivers. Actually, we need 2 more receivers here. We're going to need 1 for wolfram and 1 for calcium. Bars and blocks, respectively. Now, we do have 1 wolfram receiver here. It's just set to 4. So we'll move this, but we'll reuse it. And if I'm not mistaken, if we set this to say wolfram powder, where we have 2 of these, so 2 every 2 seconds, so 60, 120, so 1 receiver of each of these should be more than enough. So let's put down cargo receiver at this height, lock our Z, 1, and then of course that's needs a little bit more support. No big deal. So this one will do up 1. Up 1. Well, that may be enough. Let's see. 1, 2. Platform, receiver here. That should be good. And we're actually going to come out on this side. So we need a rail connector to bring this up a bit. So we'll go at this height here, lock our Z. We need a rail connector here. And then another rail connector. Put a platform right here. And then we do need to, this is going to be a little weird because we have to go to 1 on top and then 1 on the bottom for each of these. So let's get our rail connectors in here first. One, 2, 3, 4. So obviously we're going to come out of our receiver into our connector. And then we're going to do, I guess, 1, 2. And actually this, if this was up 1, which it actually is, accidentally, but luckily. So if we raise this by 1, then we can just come straight over the top of this into here, and then do 1 in, loop up, and 1 in. Just like that. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. So now we're gonna need some power, which we might be over budget I'm not sure quite how thirsty these Furnace V2s are, but we do have a lot of stuff here. It's going to be the least obnoxious way to bring power here. Maybe we do a transmission rail into like here, and then out from here. And we do this down to here. Hey, we have enough juice. Okay. Well, we're all powered up. We are a bit over our thermal budget, so before we hit another rupture, because I'm sure there's going to be some troubleshooting that we have to do for this stuff here, let's build some more base core amplifiers on... Where is our core for this? Over here, this guy. 12. Just put a row of them for now. We'll stack these later because I do need to create a little bit more overhead for dispatchers. This will at least save us from the next rupture while we're working on getting these all set up here. So, let's bring in all our materials. Let's set up all our receivers. If I can get out of here. There we go. We've created a cage of rails. So, we're going to have Wolfram on our first stack here. So this will be W bar RX4. We're going to connect this to W bar TX4. We'll come up top here. Our next available calcium block transmitter is going to be TX7. So you'll be C block RX7. You're online. We'll set up all recipes at the end. So we have, these are for calcium powder and calcium powder. Now, we need our Goethite. So you will be available Goethite ingot RX1 to TX1. Then Goethite ingot RX2 to TX2. And finally, these will be for helium. You know, I didn't actually check to see if we had enough helium available, and we don't. We only have one helium transmitter available, so we're going to have to go source. And I don't know how much is actually on TX2. We can check that. So at the minimum, we're going to have to source 4, maybe 5. Well, each one of these is connected to their own dedicated helium extractor, so we'll need 4 more helium dispatchers. So we can at least name these. So if we're at TX1's in use, TX1, TX2 is available 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the next one, well, this will be RX1. So this will be HE3RX4, I think was the one that's available. Available 2. I wonder if that unnamed the other one. HE3RX2. We'll connect to TX2. So there's 1. Now we're going to need to source 4 more from somewhere. I'm pretty sure we've tapped all of these. So let's take a look at our map. And it looks like with the new areas that we have revealed here, we actually have some pretty dense helium deposits right near our Goethite plains right here. So we have 5 here, we have 5 here. So let's go tap 4 of these, and then we'll use these to feed our chemical plant here. Okay. Here we are, right past our Goethite base. We're going to put another, that's actually going to share some, which we have to use some base core amplifiers, but we're going to double up. There's something big over here. What is all this? This area in particular is extremely laggy. Oh, this is a abandoned base. I can see some catwalk here. And some buggies. Oh yeah, look at that. We got some bases around here. We should do some adventuring at some point, but we've been caught up in some factory building in recent episodes. When we get... Oh. He's just standing there menacingly. When we get to the point where we need recipes for the content update 1 manufacturing, we will have to start doing some more adventuring for sure. But for now, I'm going to drop a base core around here, I guess. We just want 0 of 1,000 in this base core. And we'll take as many of these helium deposits as we can. I was wondering where that pillar went. I placed one pillar that was supposed to be in this stack. It just disappeared. And I knew it went somewhere behind the pillar stack, but I couldn't find where it went. Well, there it is. We're going to put as many of these helium extractors in the back on this secondary base core as we can, which looks like it's only going to be maybe 1. Nope, they're all going to be on this one, so this was completely pointless. Alright, well in that case, there's no sense in having this base core here. It's just going to get attacked by bugs. Oh, that pillar fell over. That's pretty neat. We should start building some factories on top of these, build a zip line up, and then maybe connect platforms across some of these. To create a large, elevated manufacturing area would be pretty cool. So we're going to place... 1... So let's face them in this direction. Maybe we will need that base core, now that I'm thinking about it. Because we can do our extraction on this base core, and then we can do our dispatching on this base core. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to need another 8 base core amplifiers or so. Each one's 20. So let's grab base core amplifiers. I do need to unlock the V2s, but the V2s require us to get a base core to level 3, I think, which is extremely obnoxious. Just a really high item count. You need a whole buttload, like 30 or 50 meteor cores. You need a whole bunch of incendium, ignitium. You need a whole, like, 7,000, 7,500 helium-3, which is easy enough to get. It's just running back and forth or setting up a dispatcher and standing there and waiting for an hour and a half while 7.5k helium arrives, 1 dispatch at a time. But for now, our V1 amplifiers are keeping things under control. So we're back within our thermal limit here. I need to replace this base core far enough away. I don't care if the helium extractors are on this. We still have plenty of overhead. So we'll do storage depot times locker Z. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like so, and then we'll do dispatchers. 1, 2, 3. Oh. Always, no matter where I go, it will always end up being in the way of my construction. 1, 2, 3. No, I didn't put that one far enough out. 4. We'll connect these through. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we need one extractor into each of these. So well, this one's way back here. So you'll be 1. You'll be 2. You'll be 3. You'll be 4. Like so. A little power. Oh, starlight obstructed. I guess we'll have to come all the way out here. 1, 2. Let's see if 2 will be enough before I continue. Rail support. Of course, I'm in the way again. No matter where I go. I will always be in the way. Okay, you to you. That is enough. Okay. So we'll set all these for helium 3. Helium 3. Helium 3. Helium 3. There it comes. Alright, we'll set these. We'll start over here. So we left off at 6, so this will be HE3TX7. HE3TX7. HE3TX7.
Drink something soon. I'm gonna die.
You're so dramatic. Wait, why am I letting all these 7? HE3TX8. HE3TX9. Helium 3. HE3TX10. Okay, so we'll check these 10, 9, 8, and 7. Perfect. Okay, let's head back. Okay, we're back. So, we have RX2 already. Let's grab HE3RX7. HE3RX8. HE3RX9. And HE3RX10. TX10. There we go. That should be all of our inputs. Now, we need to, before I select a recipe here, let's set up our output balancing, because we haven't collected any of our output yet. So each one of these, I'm going to throw down a temporary furnace V2, just so we can check our recipe. Chemicals, so this is outputting 4 every 2 seconds, so that's 120 per minute. So we have, that'll be 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4 will be 480, so we're going to need 1, 2, and 3 rails here. So we have 480, 480, and then 240. We need to collect all of our output first, and then bounce them onto some multi-rails. So you can do that with, I guess we can do rail connectors, or we're doing rail connectors on the input side. Technically, rail modulators are a little bit faster, but in this case, well, this backside will be uncomplicated enough that we can probably get away with it if we do something like this. Do it on the left-hand side of this. And then we can probably do something like out from here into here. Send it forward. Out from here into here. Send it forward. I missed. Send it forward, and then we can modulate these two together onto a multi-rail 3, which we'll need to place, say, right here, but we'll have to go up 1, I think. So we'll need a rail modulator here to collect 2 and send it up. So we're going to do 1 to the left. We'll do 1 in the middle. And so there's 480, so it's 240, 240. This is going to collect into, let's do the outside lane. Yeah, that'll work for now. And then from here, we'll need to do the same thing again. So we'll modulate this to the left. Bring it out. Send it forward. Bring it out. Send it forward. And then our multi-rail will come in right here, up one. So we'll take our left-hand rail to the left, bring this up into the center, and we're at the limit of our drone. Alright, now, rail modulator. One here. One here. Bring it out. Bring it out. We're gonna need to bring our multi-rail forward, say here. So we'll do... we'll do one more, because we need to modulate these together again first. So we'll go to here. And we'll do one here. One here. That's a heck of a bend, but it works. And then our multi-rail, actually... I didn't bring this down, so let's do that first. Okay. Modulate this here. So we'll bring this, let's see, we're on the left-hand side, so we'll do center, we'll do right, and then if we do multi-rail here, we should be able to grab this left-hand side, bring it through, bring this up to the center. There we go. So let's do the same thing here. We'll bring this down into a rail modulator. Well, yeah, that one's going to be a little tricky, because now we're using the center. Well, the center is one level above, right? So it should be fine. We bring this to the center. We bring this to the right. And then we put another multi-rail here, but raised by one. We should be able to bring the left and the center through. Yeah, that's fine. And then we'll bring the right up. Like so. Now, unfortunately, these are swapped. Well, it'll be fine because we're going to have to delete this anyway because our sulfuric acid plant is going to require, I think, 9 of these. So we're going to have to demolish all this and rebuild it anyway. So we'll just have to remember that our half rail is on the inside when it comes time to unravel these into our pressurizers. But for now, if we want to store these in storage depots, ideally I would like to do this on this side because it's going to loop forward into this. So for right now, I think we'll pause. We'll get all these set up. We'll get all these manufacturing just to make sure that our chemical production is in line. And then when we're going to take a break and then come and redo all this. So we'll delete all this. So we'll set up our storage for this when it comes time to actually start on our sulfuric acid factory. But for right now, I'm going to set our recipe for all of our chemicals here. Helium 3. Auto-saving. Always at the most inopportune moment. Goethite, wolfram powder, and calcium powder, it says, is unavailable, which is interesting. I know it's coming from far away, but it should all be available. Whoop. We're not receiving... We have bars. Did I mess up the recipe? It takes bars. Oh, I swapped them. Huh? Oops, somebody probably caught that and was yelling at me. So these are set to wolfram, but they're receiving... Well, at the moment they're receiving nothing. What did I do here? Connected. You loop down to this. So this is going to be... calcium powder. Yeah, okay. So I just got to swap them. Calcium powder, wolfram powder. Calcium powder. And wolfram powder. There we go. Okay, so our furnaces are furnacing. Now we'll set all of our chemical recipes. So chemicals. And these are our furnaces. Okay, so everything should be flowing now. I see calcium powder. I see wolfram powder. I see goethite. I see helium. Perfect. Okay. Things are humming along, so if I check one of these... This is wolfram powder. If I check one of these... There we go. We're crafting. We have chemicals building up on the output side. We seem to be gaining in materials, which means that we're not deficient in supply of any particular material, which is good. Our rail balancing was correct, and we didn't introduce too many bottlenecks in the form of junction points or rail connectors that are slowing down the throughput of our items. So I think we're in a pretty good place. So I'm going to take a little break here, and then when we come back, we're going to demolish our pressurizers here. We're going to set up a factory for sulfuric acid, and we'll tap our chemicals into that along with some extra sulfur from the base we set up at the beginning of the episode, and that should go pretty smoothly, I think. But I'll see you in just a bit. Alright, we're back again, and in the meantime, I have built 4 of our thermal towers in the back to expand our thermal capacity, and we're going to free up some of our capacity by removing all of our existing sulfuric acid production and distribution, but I am going to check before we move on. These are sulfur receivers 3. I believe this should be 1, 2, 3, and 4 here. Let me just double check. There's 4. There's 1 and 2, yes. So once we destroy all this, we will have 13 or 14 sulfur dispatchers available to receive into a series of what I think is 9 pressurizers here to produce all the sulfuric acid that we're going to need. So let's start by destroying everything that we have made already. Okay, there we go, all clear, and we just need to keep in mind that we have 2 sulfuric acid dispatchers that we're going to need to hook back up after we're done here. But let's take a peek at our recipe one more time here, so we can do this properly. So, in the pressurizer, in order to make sulfuric acid, we're going to need 8 sulfur ore and 4 chemicals every 2 seconds. And we had determined that that is 1 pressurizer per cargo receiver, right? Because 8 times 30 is 240, which is our theoretical output from our cargo receivers. So we're going to need 9 of these, I believe. We check our rupture planner here. Right here, we're going to need 9 pressurizers producing 990.7, which will probably be closer to, what is this, 120 per minute times 9, which is actually 1,080 when these are running at full capacity. So 9 pressurizers, so we're going to need 9 receivers, and half as many chemical lines because we have 4 versus 8 for sulfur ore. So
dehydrated.
4 times 30 is 120, so we can run 4, right? 120, 240, and then double that is 480. We can run 4 pressurizers off of each rail here. So that'll be 4. Our big lines are on the outside, right? So that'll be 4, 4, and 1 on our final string here of 240. And that will be all the sulfuric acid that we're going to need. Now, there is a V2 recipe for sulfuric acid in the compounder V2, but since we don't even have the compounder V1 unlocked yet, I think it is actually available to us if I drop a habitat. I think it's one of those Goethite ingot turn-ins that I set up and then never collected on. So if we drop a corporate terminal in here, we should have, a few here. So we've got Griffith's Blue from last episode, or the episode before, for our defense turrets. We've got Future Health for the compounder V1. And then we've got Moon Energy for just a LEM. And then next level, we'll be able to claim a wind turbine, but they want Goethite ingots. So actually, I can set that up and we can use wind turbines in place of all of our current solar panels. So that may be worth setting up. But for right now, we'll destroy this. Or we could, just in the background, while we're building our sulfur plant, I can drop a OCL V2 over here, and we can take our Goethite ingots, which should be this bottom line here, right? We can take our Goethite ingot line and run this into here to turn into Moon Energy. We'll take Goethite ingots. This is going to run passively in the background while we work on sulfuric acid here. So again, 1 receiver per pressurizer and 4 pressurizers per 480 rail of chemicals. So the first thing that we're going to have to do is set up our buffer for chemicals. This is for sulfuric acid here. We have a buffer for chemicals over here. I will create a new one. Where? Let's put it right. Well, let's lock our Z first, so that we're maintaining our the same bed of our factory here. So we'll put this right here. We're going to have 1, 2, 3. 1 for each of our 480 rails, so this will go here, here, and here. With the largest being on this side here, so we'll go to here. Oh, how'd that happen? To here. And then all the way through to here. Break these off one at a time. There we go. Give this guy some food and water. Now we'll set these to chemicals, chemicals, and chemicals. Here they come. Now we are going to we're contesting for our Goethite ingots now, but that's fine. We don't need this to deliver in any particular hurry. All right, so we have all of our chemical inputs here, and we're going to need 9 pressurizers with 9 receivers and 3 sets of rails here. So we're going to need to split this into 4, 4, and 1, essentially. And I think we'll start here. We need to figure out where we want to put our 9 cargo receivers. We obviously can't put the cargo receivers on top of these, because these are a bit tall, and they have a very wide footprint. I wonder if it would be possible for us to put our pressurizers on top of our cargo receivers, and then just loop it up? Would that make sense? Let's see, what's the footprint, or what's the vertical footprint of cargo receivers again? It's like 13 or something. If we put... lock our Y here. This is not the final position, this is just to test the height offset. Once autosave is done. So we're gonna go up 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We only have to go up 9. That's super doable. So if we do that, our pressurizer, what is our footprint of our cargo receiver going to look like inside the footprint of our pressurizer? So if we do this here, it does line up nice and neat in the center. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I kind of like that. And then we can do a pillar support on either side. So let's see, if we want to do 9, that's 6 plus 3. So we'll do supported platform. 1, 2, 3, lock our Z. So we'll do 1 like this, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then another like this. And then the back side of this, if we do a pillar support here, 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 and here, so that's 9 total. We pull back out our pressurizer, flip it this way, lift it up. Look at that. Beautiful. Now we do probably need to put down our receiver first. So we'll put this right. Make sure we're on the right height here. Lock our Y, or lock our Z. I will forever be making that mistake because you use Y to lock Z. Pressurizer. Bring this up. Just like that. So we'll do this 9 times. And then we'll just have to run, I guess, 2 sets of rails up. So we'll do something like a multi-rail. Do we do it from the ground level up? It's not going to make much sense, I don't think. It'll probably be better if we run our multi-rail up here first, run it along this, and then just loop our output of our cargo receiver up.
I'm detecting increased
But we'll have to do that
activity.
after this
Prepare
rupture.
for a wave.
But yeah, this is, I think it's going to look a lot nicer and neater and kind of aesthetically pleasing once we get all this set up properly. So we'll get back to this as soon as the rupture's over.
Excellent. The Moon Energy Corporation remains very impressed with your services. Rewards are waiting in the terminal.
All right, there's our wind turbine at last. We've been missing that. Okay, and here's all of our pillars for our pressurizers. So let's drop down our cargo receivers, aligned to this height. That's 3, 4, 5. Oh, we're gonna need some pillars for this as well. Okay. So let's do supported platform at this height is obviously going to be 2. Well, that might be fine if we do it here. And here might actually be enough. And then 1, 2. 1 is probably enough. And then this one will need some extra support. Let's just double check. Copy this. Make sure our Z is locked. It is. We want this to be here. We want this to be here. We want this to be here. And this one we're going to need. Go to here. 1, 2. Whoa, whoa, whoa. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Really? Need a pillar that far down? We're going to go from here. We'll take this height here. We'll go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lock our Z. We'll do 1 here and 1 here with a pillar and a pillar. Copy this. Rotate. Place it. Here we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So let's copy this now. Lock our Z. That's 3, 4. I was worried about that. That extra pillar in there is throwing off our support calculation, so we'll have to put an extra pair of pillars in the back, which is not the end of the world. Supported platform. Lock our Y. Bring this to here. And then from here, we're going to need even more. So we'll go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lock our Z. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. And 1. Pillars. There we go. Now, try this again. Z. Lift it up. Oh, stop moving around. Go right. It's skipping. When I get to the right height, it just immediately skips. Bro. Okay. Lock our height here. Stop moving around. Alright. 8 and 9. Beautiful row of pressurizers on top of cargo receivers. Now, we're going to bring our multi-rails through. So I think what we should do, if I lock our Y here, we'll bring our multi-rails through like this. So we'll take, what's our 480 is this outside rail, which becomes our first output. So when it comes out this side, it's actually going to be on the left, which is fine. We just need to make sure that this first one here gets the 240, and then the rest of these get the 480. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4 on one to here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 on the other. So what we'll probably do is do... Oh, this one's going to immediately exit, so this one doesn't actually matter, so that makes it a lot easier. So if we just do immediate exit into here, that one's going to get its own 240, which is technically overkill. We could put one more on there, but we don't need the extra sulfuric acid. And so this, from this point forward, I've actually put this too far forward. I'll bring this back by 1. From this point forward, I think what we'll do is if we copy this to here, we'll take this outside rail, continue it forward, and then here we're going to do a rail modulator in this direction, bring it down 1, and then we'll take this line down into the modulator, break one off into our pressurizer, and then continue this back up again, and then we'll do that for the next 4, and then that line will end, and we'll do the same thing for the last 4 on this last rail here. So before we continue, let's get all of our storage depots up here. Is this going to be enough space to bring these up? It is. We'll do all these up here. Hey, look, perfect application for our new wind turbines. So we'll bring this into here. We'll do another set of multi-rail supports. Auto-saving. Here and here. So this will be, I guess... No, that's how it has to be. Okay, so we'll do this, this, and this. Continue this through here. Like so. So this is our 480 on the inside, and then it's our first output, which is then on the inside on this side. Yeah, okay, so that's all correct. So, we have one of our ingredients in for our sample here, so how do we get our sulfur ore up here? Is it as simple as just looping it? Oh my god, it is. Or is it? So this will have to be like this, which is kind of an ugly bend, but it's fine. I'm not that big of a stickler. Okay, so we're going to continue this pattern. Let me move up here. Oh, not that. We want a multi-rail. Okay, so this is the first of 4. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. That'll be our first 480 rail. So this outer rail, or I guess inner if you're looking this direction, we'll continue through, and then we're going to bring our center rail into rail modulators here, down 1. Here, so that's 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So this will get brought down into here. Break it off to the left. Continue onwards, and then bring up our sulfur. Bring this down. Break it off to the left. Well, to the right. Break it off to the right. Continue it onwards. Bring up our sulfur. And then I guess we don't technically need this rail modulator, but just for consistency. Like that. Just every one of these looks the same. Now, we'll continue our multi-rail here, but only our last rail will remain, and we're out of space again, so let's move up. Multi-rails here, here, and here. We'll bring our last rail forward. We'll go into a rail modulator. Down 1. Another. Another. And our last one. So this will go in here. Go to the right. Bring up our sulfur. Send it forward. I guess we could technically just bring this right into the next modulator, but I like the look of consistency. Bring this up. Speaking of consistency, this is not consistent. It must come from the center. Right. Bring up the sulfur. Continue forward. Bring it to the right. Bring up our sulfur. And there we go. That should be the inputs for all of our pressurizers creating sulfuric acid. Now we are going to need a bunch of power here, and we're going to have to name and connect all of our receivers. So let's start with a habitat. Oh yeah, we got defense turret. And then in the habitat, need a corporate terminal. Give me wind turbine. So does anybody else want goethite ingots? We have goethite powder. Inductors we could easily do. Pressure tank, reinforced housing, supermagnet hardening agent. So we'll get to that. Kill this. Kill this. And kill this, right? And this. Yep, comes in, goes in there. Okay, we're good. So, power. We go from 140 from solar generator V2 to 1200 from wind turbine. Now that does put us over our thermal limit. Are we already over? We're already over our thermal limit by 1821. Oh, no, we're not. We're at 1821 of 1880. But if I build another stack of these here, or if I just go into the base core where I have our existing solar panels set up, I can just replace those for higher tier power. And then we won't have to do anything extra. So we have this very awkwardly placed arrangement of solar panel V2s, so we can just get rid of the trunks. Brand new, and then we'll build wind turbines. So we'll do 1, 2, 3. Now again, we can stack these. 4, 5, 6. I think that alone should be enough, but let's build a little distribution rail right here. Lock our Z from here. This is not technically going to connect, but let's see. I can go down from here, and that should power up that. Rail V3 into here. That is enough. And if we check our power, we're using 3600 of 7200, so that's beautiful. That's more than we're going to need. With much less thermal capacity. Oh yeah. So with that done, let's name and connect all of our cargo receivers here. So this is going to be connected to Sulfur TX1, so we'll call this Sulfur RX1. Sulfur RX2 to Sulfur TX2. And Sulfur RX9 to Sulfur TX9. And there we go. Now we need to set the recipes on all of our pressurizers, but first I'm going to drop off all of this extra stuff that we've collected here. And so many building materials, that must have been from all of those solar panels. Good grief. Okay. Alright, set our pressurizer recipes here. So, sulfuric acid. There it comes. Let's make sure chemicals are flowing in. Yep. Sulfuric acid. Here it comes. Beautiful. Sulfuric acid. And sulfuric acid. Let's take a look. Here it comes. Slowly but surely. We're going to have a little buffering period here while the internal buffers all fill up. So we're probably not going to be running at 100% efficiency until that happens. It's almost there. It gets to 7 of 8. So we'll let that run for a bit, and then we'll take a look and see if they're running as efficiently as we suspect they should be. While we're waiting on that, we can take a look at the output side. So we're producing 4 every 2 seconds. That's 120 per minute, which means we can string together 4 pressurizers to fill a 480 rail. So let's take rail modulators. Do this. Where do we want to do this? Let's do it in this direction again, because we have this cave is going to be in the way here if we're going to try to set up our dispatchers down here. So let me start on the other end, and we'll bring them back in this direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then from this point we'll need to bring a multi-rail into play. And we'll do the multi-rail... Let's do the multi-rail down 1. We'll see if my thinking pans out. So we'll bring these in here, send them forward. Ugh. And send them forward. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 strung together, so that should be 480, and then we'll bring this to the left-hand side here. Now we're going to need to bring this multi-rail to here. Let's see. 1 forward from that, so right here, we'll bring this down 1. We'll string this rail to here. Then we'll set up our rail modulator this way. There we go, and we can bring this into here. And then we can continue this into our next rail modulator and continue our multi-rail forward. So let's come down this way a bit. Now let's see, can we do the whole stretch in one go? If we bring this to here and bring this down one, this should be fine. I don't think that'll be too far for a single rail. Yeah, that's fine. We'll run that first, and then we can run all of our rail modulators without issue. So we'll lock our Z. We have 1. This is 2. Building is not stable. That's fine. 3. Oh, I know why. We don't have any pillars in the back here. So can we build... I was going to say, can we build down, but let's just do this. We'll lock... It's a bit too tall, so we'll lock this here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Lock this here. And we'll do a pillar here. And a pillar here. 1, 2, 1, 2, and now we should be able to support our rail modulator facing this way, right here, and right here. So we've got this guy, rail modulator, we'll bring you forward, bring it forward, and bring it forward. So there's 8 broken up into 2 strings. So here's 480 on this rail, 480 on this rail, and then our final output here can actually just go right into this. No modulator needed. We'll bring this forward. Bring this forward. I want that down one. Don't like it ramping up like that. I want my lines nice and straight. We'll bring this down one. Then we'll do this. Like that. Beautiful. And then we'll do another set of 3, 1, 2, 3. Well, yeah, we can do it. I just need to put some more base core amplifiers down because we're right up on the edge here. But yeah, we'll buffer that. And then set up some dispatchers. We know, well, we have these 2 dispatchers here, and I could probably just run one line forward into those, but I don't want the rest of the dispatchers there. But we'll decide where to put the dispatchers once we get our storage depots in here. So let's slap down storage depots. Let's lock our Z. We're gonna have to come out 1, so along... Well, I guess we could do it along... No, we won't do it on this plane. So if we do it on this side, even though there's empty space here, if we do it on this side, then we have to bring the rails back around again. It's gonna be more annoying. And if we just do it the right way the first time, so we'll do this here. And then we'll line this up with our existing storage depots for chems. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, like that. So we're over on our thermal capacity now, but we will fix that in just a moment. So we'll bring our multi-rail down to here. 1, 2, 3, and in this case, our 480 rails are going to the first ones to unwind here. Lock our Z, 2 and 3. Bring these forward. This is your stop. This is your stop. So we'll set these to sulfuric acid. Not sulfur ore, but sulfuric acid and sulfuric acid. Here it comes. Thousands of gallons of sulfuric acid flowing into storage. Okay, there's another couple of towers of base core amplifiers there to up our thermal limit. So let's take care of dispatchers for these guys. So we're going to want 2 dispatchers per storage depot here. Let's grab a cargo dispatcher and figure out where we want to locate these guys. But I do want some space in here for our hardening agent factory. Although I kind of want it, that's probably going to have to go on a separate base core because this one's pretty much full. We'll be able to squeeze some additional thermal juice out of this with our base core towers here, but I don't want to have to build like another 6 of these to put another factory in here. So maybe we will just put these here. So if we unwind these in this direction, we're going to bring this back one. Collide with a player, of course, I'm always in the way, no matter where I'm at. Something will need to go there. Cargo dispatcher. We'll set these up. I mean, I guess we could do it this way if we're not going to have anything here. Colliding with another building, is it? What building is it colliding with? Oh, is it these things? Ah. Then this should be fine. So we'll do this here. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Well, 5. Because one of these is only a half. So, in order to give each one of these their own dedicated line, we're going to have to do some funky junk here. So let's start with this one. We're going to take... We could do it like this, I suppose. We'll take one out of this side. We'll take one out of this side. We'll do 1, 2, 1, 2. Now for the next one, we're gonna have to go 1 out from there, so right here, and then turn it this way, and then do 1, 2. Bring them around the corner, and then we'll send these to here. Need to put this one on a pillar, but we get the idea, so we'll bring this forward to here. This forward to here. I suppose we could just do this up 1. I think that should be alright as well. It doesn't really matter. It will give us some extra support, but I don't mind just putting this on an extra platform here. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lock our Z. You're gonna go here, I believe. So pillar support. Then a multi-rail 3. Especially if this is going to be the last factory we're doing in this area. So you'll unwind... Well, you'll go get forward. I grabbed the wrong one. You'll unwind to here. You'll unwind to here. And then this should be our 240. If we trace this up. Yep, this is our single machine. Well, this is our 120. Look at this again. I think this is 120. Yeah, 4 times 30, 120. So this dispatch is going to run at half, which is fine. Let's have to make sure we know that when we connect this to whatever's going to need the very last of our sulfuric acid supply, that we need to use this particular dispatcher. So we're going to go forward 1 more. We'll lock our Y here. We'll go forward 1 more. Rotate it this way. We're only going to need 1 of these outputs. But for consistency, I will continue with the multi-rails. And then we'll bring this all the way to here. We'll send this through. Nice and straight. You unwrap it to there, and there we go. There's all of our dispatchers for sulfuric acid. Now we do need to reconnect these. So this was SACD TX1, SACD TX2. So let's kill these. These are no longer in service. And we'll set this up as... I'm going to have to double check what the demand is on SADC 1 and 2. We'll set this up as SADC sulfuric acid TX1 sulfuric acid, and we can connect this from here, which is a new feature. Well, it used to be this way, but we've not been using it this way, to SACD RX1, which should be in our turbine factory, if I recall. And then SADC TX2 sulfuric acid connection to... Oh, I guess we never had anything pulling from 2. Well, that's fine. We'll continue. So SADC TX3. Yeah, because if the turbine factory doesn't need that much, then we could put that on our 120 line down here instead of our 240s. SADC TX3. Is that right? 3. 1, 2, 3. No, this is 4. SADC TX4. Now, if I name that 3, this is already called 3. Okay, you can have 2 with the same name. And then SADC TX5. Sulfuric acid. And there we go. Let me drop
Dehydrated.
this. Let's drink
Delicious.
and eat. And there we go. So there is our updated chemical factory, our refactorized chemical factory, and our refactorized expanded sulfuric acid factory. That should be all of each of these that we're going to need. Now, the chemicals are not... I don't think they're all going into sulfuric acid production. I think some of this might actually go somewhere else. We'll have to check our rupture planer again, but let's just take a look at what we've accomplished here. So here's our furnace V2s for our chemical factory. And here's our 9 pressurizers for sulfuric acid, our tower of cooling, our dispatchers. Everything, I think, wired nice and neatly. Well, there we go. So let's take a look at what we're going to have to do for hardening agent for our last activity for the day. Okay, I have come north of our chemical and sulfuric acid base here on the map. So that base is right around here. So we came north through the blood plains and then up to these helium deposits here, because we're going to need 2 more helium deposits for our next factory. Let's set this up here, and we have access to another 3 here. But I should probably tap all 3, but I need at least 2 of these. We'll put a base core here. We'll drop some helium-3 extractors here, here, and here. We'll bring our lines forward. We'll put this here. We'll bring this into a multi-rail. Let's say here. And bring this to the right. This into the center. This... No, to the left. If this is the right, this is center, this is left. And then we'll turn this way. In or out. We'll set up cargo dispatcher back 1, 2. Let's set our Y first, or our Z. Of course. 1, 2. 1, 2. And as usual, the elevation always goes up as we go on instead of down. So I have to rebuild. We'll do storage depots in front. 1, 2, 3. Connect our rails. 1, 2, 3. Bring our multi-rail through. 1, 2, 3. Send these up. Break one off. Break one off. And break one off. Just like that. We need a little power here. One single wind turbine now, instead of a bunch of separate solar panels. That are items. Helium. What? Oh. I missed. You need to come from here. There we go. Helium. Helium.
The Raptura is in its stable state.
Okay.
The climate of Arcadia
Now we'll
is
set
returning to normal.
our dispatchers. I do not remember. I think we were at 7 before, but I don't remember. I think we did up to 9. Let's see. In use is up to 110. There's up to 10 there. If I drop a receiver here. Available. No, there are no helium lines available, but we have in use 9 and 10. Okay, so 10 is our definitely our last one. So this will be HE3TX11, HE3TX12, and HE3TX13. Okay, let's head back. Okay, we're gonna make use of this beautiful flat savanna here just to the north of our chemical and sulfur base. This should be more than large enough to fit the buildings in here that we're gonna need to produce hardening agent. And to do that, let's take a look at our rupture planner. So I've narrowed this down to just the hardening agent that we're going to need for our RTSC generator build, and that's going to be 5 full furnace V2s producing 375 hardening agent per minute. So if we work our way backwards from here, we have 2 furnaces making synthetic silicon at a rate of 75 per minute. We actually have a large excess of this because when we refactored our chemical factory, that recipe, that V2 recipe, no longer requires synthetic silicon at all. So all that synth silicon that we're making is now just laying there waiting to be used. So we'll repurpose some of that for hardening agent with some dispatchers. We obviously have our sulfuric acid already taken care of. We just built that factory. So we need the output of 2 pressurizers there, totaling 150 per minute. We also need fabricators producing applicators at a rate of 75 per minute. So this we will have to get online here as part of this factory because we do not have applicators being manufactured. So rolling backwards from here, we're going to need glass manufacturing and we're going to need tube manufacturing. Now I know we previously had created some glass manufacturing. I'm going to have to double check and see if we have any extra there, but I think we might have just made enough to meet the demands of, I think that was for our heat resistant sheet factory. So I'll have to double check that. Either way, if we need to create glass here, we can do that with, it looks like goethite ingots, calcite sheets, and pressurized helium. pressurized helium is one thing that we will need to set up for this factory, because it's also going to be used to make hardening agent directly. So we will need 4 pressurizers here making pressurized helium. So we just set up the 2. We set up 3, but we're going to need 2 of these helium-3 extractors for this pressurized helium. We do have plenty of titanium sheets being dispatched that we can pull down. Wolfram powder, I don't know if we do, but it only needs 75, and we can do that in a single furnace. So if we have to, we'll tap into one of our Wolfram bar dispatchers. And yeah, I think that's everything that we're going to need here. So we're going to need pressurizers for pressurized helium. We're going to need a furnace for Wolfram powder. We're going to need tube fabricators. We're going to need potentially glass furnacing, and everything else is already taken care of. So sulfuric acid's done, synth silicon's done. So just this chain right here leading into hardening agent. So let's hop back and let's take a look. I don't think I set our dispatchers up for glass. If there was extra glass, I don't think I dispatched it. It might just be going straight into heat resistant sheets. So if we look at available here, we're up to T's. I don't see any glass available. I'm actually going to pull up the video from that episode rather than run all the way back across the map. I'm just going to pull that video up on the side here and take a look at what I did. Okay, yep, that was just for heat resistant sheets. So we'll need to set up some extra glass manufacturing here. Not a big deal. We have plenty of space to do it in. So let's go to kind of the edge of our buildable area here, which we will locate with a base core amplifier, so we can go all the way up to basically this tree. So we'll probably start in this area right here. So we're probably going to want to start by making glass. So let's take a look at the furnace V2 recipe for glass. We'll spin this around this way. This won't be the final resting place for this. This is just to cross-reference our recipe for glass. So we're going to need pressurized helium, calcite sheets, and goethite. So actually, we're not going to want to start with glass because pressurized helium is an earlier item. So that's going to be done in a pressurizer. Let's face this in this direction for right now. In a pressurizer to make pressurized helium, which somehow we managed to not unlock yet. We're just going to need helium-3 and sulfur ore, which is super easy because we just got a hold of our helium-3 and we already have access to our sulfur ore. So let me run back to our habitation and turn in the ingredients to unlock this recipe first. So we are going to need 2,000 helium-3 and 3,000 sulfur ore. So I'm going to need to ditch some of this inventory for now. I wish there was a way to feed these ingredients in here on a rail instead of having to pocket them all and somehow cram them into a computer terminal. But, hey. We gotta do what we gotta do. Let's put this here. Let's offload a bunch of this. Okay. This should be the last of it. Insert. Insert. And there we go. New recipe, pressurized helium. So, let's head back out to the factory floor. Okay, let's take a look at this recipe. So, pressurized helium. So we're going to need 1 of each of helium-3 and sulfur ore every 2 seconds. So this is 60 per second, and we're going to need 4 of these according to Rupture Planner. So 60, 120, 180, 240. So this should be easily done on a single rail for both these materials. We do just need to bring them in on a receiver. So let me copy this. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll set up 1 receiver each for sulfur and for helium. Cargo receiver. Here. And here. And a little power. Now we could actually consolidate our power into our power base over here because it is a very small distance away. So I don't mind doing that. We are right on the cusp of our ability to power things, though. Or our ability to add more turbines, I should say. There we go. We'll connect this to here. And we'll run this down. This doesn't really need to be a rail V3, does it? We'll save a little bit. Oh, I dropped off all my building materials. I should probably go pick those up again, but for right now, this should be okay. There's some power. Okay, so we need to wire these up now. So we're going to set one of these to helium. Let's say He3TX11. Auto-saving. So you'll be He3RX11, TX11, and then you will be Sulfur TX5 for some reason is not being used. That's interesting. If they didn't break something. Let's see. Sulf RX5. Hey! Knock it off. Okay, with that interruption dealt with, let's continue here. So we're going to need 2 different rails here. One for sulfur, one for helium. So we'll just do an over-under. So we'll take rail modulators, and we'll need to do our over on this side, I believe. So we'll do out from here. This will go to the left. Next need to go, these need to move forward 1. So place our rail modulator here. This will go from here to here. And then we can place our upper rail modulator here. Bring this out into here. And then that'll be our pattern going down through all 4 of these. So, let's continue. So it's lower. Well, it's going to be in this direction now, right? So it's going to be lower this far back and then upper here. And then we should be able to bring this down, this up. And this should wrap around that pole. Yeah, perfect. This would break off here. This will go into here. This will go into here. Send it forward. Okay, there's all of our inputs. So let's set our recipes here. One of them looks like it's already running. Pressurized helium. Pressurized helium. Pressurized helium. And pressurized helium. So these are going to take a bit to fill up here. And while those are running, this is 1 every 2 seconds, so this is actually 30 per minute, right? 1 times 30. So, yeah, this will all fit on 1 rail on the output side. And I guess we'll collect this back on the right again so we can start our next factory going to the left. So we'll grab this here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Send this to the left. There we go. We'll buffer this. Suppose right here will do just fine. Collect pressurized helium here. Here it comes. Nice and purple. So, our next step is going to be glass. Glass is made in a furnace V2. Where do we want to align this? We'll align this to... I should probably ideally move this down a bit because I would like to move this whole factory line down a bit. So we'll put this here. And before this gets too full, we'll break this and we'll put this right here. We'll put a single rail support here just to keep this line nice and straight all the way to the end before going into here. We're going to plunge these into here before setting this to pressurized helium. And we'll take all this, fill this up by hand. Okay, now the helium's flowing, and then we can take this out of here into the beginning of our line here. So let's take a look at our glass recipe. We're gonna need pressurized helium, calcite sheets, and goethite ingots. So we're gonna need, let's take a look at our planner. We're going to need 2 of these. So let's copy this one more time. Furnace, V2 please. Facing this way. So we're gonna need, we have pressurized helium. Goethite we can source from a cargo receiver. Calcite sheets we're going to need to manufacture here. We're going to need a total of, let's see, this is 1 times 20, so this is 20 per minute. This is 40 per minute. Calcite sheets are made in a fabricator. They're going to be made at a rate of 60 per minute, so we only need 1 fabricator making calcite sheets. And we do actually, by a stroke of luck, have fresh calcium right here. So we can smelt and fabricate calcium to calcite sheets right here. So let's toss down 1 ore excavator on, let's say, our nicer nodes here. This looks like a low quality node. This one should be running at maybe normal. This is normal, so 4 times 2, so this is running at 120. We'll bring that forward into a smelter. Let's see, how far back can we put this? I just don't want to overwrite these plants here that produce water for us. So if we bring this into here, let's put a supported platform right here to power this up. We want to make calcium blocks. I guess the 4 is a little overkill since we're only making 60 per minute here, but that's fine. We're going to put this directly into a fabricator. Making calcite sheets. There we go. There we have 60 per minute. And we're consuming 1 times 20. We're consuming 40 between these two, and we're producing 60. So we should be good to go here. We just need a receiver for goethite. And what's our consumption here for goethite? We've got 1. This is also 40 per minute, which is kind of a waste for an entire goethite dispatcher, but it is what it is. I think maybe our last, I forget what our ratios were, but I'll take the last dispatcher for goethite just in case. So let's plop down a cargo receiver. We're gonna collect from, oh, there's only 1 left anyway. We're gonna collect from Goethite Ingot TX3. So you're gonna be Goethite Ingot RX3. No power. There will be momentarily. And then we need to set up 3 inputs here: pressurized helium, calcite sheets, and goethite ingots, all of which are available right here. So let's do, can we get away with rail modulators? This is 4 wide, so I think we had determined that rail modulators will work in this configuration. But let's see, this does not work. Okay, so we're gonna have to do rail connectors, no big deal. This factory is small enough that I'm not too worried about throughput, so we're gonna go down 1, 2, 1 here, 1 here, then up 1, 2, 1 there, then up 1, 2 again, 1 here, 1 here. Connect our inputs. Like so. And now we need to loop in all of these different ingredients here, so we can just do straight out from here. So this will take the middle row and we'll just loop it like this, nice and dirty, because there's only going to be 2 here, so we don't need to jump back out of this again. And then we'll do you down 1, 2. We'll loop this into here. Do our dirty loop. And then our last guy is going to be here. We're gonna need, I think we need pressurized helium in multiple locations here. Because we need it also, we need it for the glass, we also need it for the hardening agent. So we'll leave one of these open that we can loop around into our hardening agent. Then we'll take this one directly out into here. That is not what I wanted. I hate that that is a thing that happens so frequently. And there we go. So that should be making glass. So let's set this to glass. I can't get to the other one. There's too many rails in the way. You're making glass. Okay, so there's our 2 furnace V2s for glass. We'll collect these together into another storage depot right here. Why not? So do a rail modulator this way, a rail support here. And in, and glass, and there we go. So that's producing 4 every 3 seconds. That's 4 times 20, which is 80, times 2 is 160 glass per minute. So next up should be tubes. It's going to be made in a fabricator V2. And our higher level tube recipe. Okay, so here's another use for the goethite ingots. So we will actually split that output of goethite ingots between glass production and tube production. So that's going to require goethite ingots, titanium sheets, and wolfram powder. So let's split our goethite output first. So let's break. I can't single out this rail. There we go. Let's break this. And let's move this.
I'm detecting increased
Of course you are.
activity. Prepare for a wave.
Okay, so put a multi-rail support. Not there, but... Well, there, but just lower. So we're going to lower this 1, 2. And we'll put this at a height of 1, 2. We'll run you into here. Send you through to here. Send you through to here. That way we can take a rail connector. At that height. Put this into the back. And then we can send one to the left. Into there. And we can send one to the right to feed our tube manufacturing. But before we can do that, we're going to have to wait out another rupture. So, I will see you on the other side. Okay, let's try to make this our last rupture, shall we? So, I'm going to bring this goethite ingot feed around the side of this so that we can hit this on our next row here. So our next material that we're going to be making is tubes. Let's put down our 5. Let me double check here. 3 for tubes and then 5 for applicators. So 3 fabricator V2s. Lock our Z. We're going to send this out 1, 2. And then we're going to line this up with the edge of this factory here, like so. We're going to do 1, 2... Oh, right. I never went and picked up my building materials. I'll be right back.
Gotcha.
Okay, back to business. Fabricator V2 number 3. So let's check our ratios here. So we're going to be making tubes. We're going to need 1 goethite ingot, 1 titanium sheet, and 1 wolfram powder. Right, so we are going to need to smelt some wolfram powder in, let's say, a furnace V2, which we can position. Let's see, we're gonna need a receiver for titanium sheets. So let's put that first. Cargo receiver. Right here. And then we're gonna need a cargo receiver for wolfram bars, which we should still have some left over. I think. What is our Z level here? Right here. I'll line this up. I suppose right there. And then we'll place our fabricator, or our furnace V2 for wolfram powder. Right. I'm probably going to want this back a bit, actually, because I want the output of this to be at least level with this. So let's place this first, so that'll inform everything else. So we've got our Z locked correctly, so we'll go here. We'll go to here, and then we'll put our receiver based on that right here. Perfect. Rail V3 into here, and we'll do a rail modulator right here. So this is now lined up with our input line for our tube factory. So we'll set this here. To W bar TX, well, W bar RX6. W bar RX6. This is probably overkill because we're only going to be we're going to be using 60 per minute out of 240, so this is a bit overkill, but I don't think there's a wolfram deposit anywhere near here. So at some point, if we need the extra, I may put in a smaller amount of receiver that goes to or put in a ore excavator that harvests and dispatches a smaller amount of this. But for now, we have it available, so we'll use it for convenience sake. So this is producing 300 per minute, which is more than we're going to need for sure. This is going to be pulling down titanium sheets from T-sheet TX4, so this would be TSHT, T-sheet. I think I have it spelled as T-sheet. RX4. Like this. We need some power here, which we will get when we connect up our wolfram. And then our last ingredient is the goethite, right? Goethite ingots, which will... Oh. Feels like this autosaves so often. Our goethite ingots are right here. So, we need to set up inputs of 1, 2, 3, like this. Bring this down. Bring it down again. Just like this now. We will need to route these differently because of we have a third one now. So we're going to have to do our wave function. So like this, and then this will wrap around to here. This will go... No, this will go around Harden. This will actually go to here. This will go in this way, this will wrap around to here, this will go in this way, like that, and then we should be able to repeat this for 2 of these. And then our third one is unobstructed, so that one can just go straight in and pass it straight to the left, just like so. And there we go. Now we need to get our inputs into this, so we'll take, I guess, our titanium sheets will come straight out. Our wolfram powder, 1, 2, We'll bring down, like so, and then our goethite. One, two. Swing this around into here. Kinda hate that. Kinda want to do that at a 90-degree angle, which means we'd need to modify this. We'd need to make this a multi-rail. We'll bring this down, 1, 2. We'll send this to the left, and then back again, which should allow us to do a rail connector here. Up, 1, 2. We can delete this. Send this up. Send this to the left. That feels considerably cleaner. Is it all connected though? All of our inputs are full here. Sheets are coming in. We're gonna set you to tubes, tubes, and tubes. One, two, three. We're working. We're tubing. We're filling up quickly. We have way more incoming ingredients than we actually need. Okay, so there's our tubes. We have our glass. We have our tubes. We can now do 5 fabricators producing applicators. Let's check our recipe real quick. It should just be tubes and glass, which it is. So we'll collect our tubes. We're producing 8 every 2 seconds, which is 8 times 30, which is 240. So we actually have a bit too much here, so we'll have to do a little bit of rail balancing, but not too bad. So we'll take our rail modulators to the right, or to the left again. So we'll do this and this together to make 480. And then we'll put this up onto a multi-rail on this side. And then this one up. Actually, we don't need to bring it up at all because there's only one more of these. We don't need to modulate any more of these, so we'll just do this at level. And at level. So this will go to the left. We'll bring this to the center. And then, do we want to buffer? Probably couldn't hurt to buffer this. Although this factory is small enough, I don't know that it's necessary. So let's check our ratios here. So let me plop down a fabricator. We'll spin this this way. We'll bring this forward 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Actually getting a little tight on space here. Let's see. So we're making applicators. Probably wouldn't have hurt for us to try to stack some of this stuff, but we're already in deep. So we're gonna need 8 tubes and 2 glass every 4 seconds. So 4 seconds is 15. So 8 times 15 is 120. So we can feed 4 of our 5 off of the first rail, and then the 5th one will get the remainder. So let's string together. This is just 2 ingredients, right? Yeah. So we'll just do rail modulators facing this way. 1 here, up 1. And then bring this down. 1, 2, 3. And we'll do 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we'll bring this around from the left to the next, which we can do. We just need to place them first. And then we can place our rail modulators facing this way and going up 1. And then wrap this around into that, which is kind of a nasty bend, but it's fine. So let's get rid of these tall guys. And place our rails first, so you to you, you to you. And that'll be it for that. If that's going to be our tubes, that's all 4 machines that we can run off of 1. We'll run our rail modulators up, up, and up. And then from here, it's just going to be... for the top row, we have more than enough capacity, because the top row is running at half of the bottom row, because it's 8 and 4, right? That's 8 and 2, so even better. Okay, so we can definitely fit all the glass we're going to need onto one continuous V3 rail. Then we'll just feed that all the way through. This will be glass on top. And then this should be here, up 1. No, apparently I only went up 1, which is fine. Normally I do a separation of 2. Oops. Okay, so there's all that, and then if I was smart, I would have, before I did any of that, I would have done a multi-rail 3 right here, and then I could have passed, if I did this down, I could have passed this rail all the way to the end. But I did not do that. So I'm going to have to do it in this space instead, or I can just go up 1. In which case I'll have to bring this back. Copy it. We won't copy. We'll do this here. We'll go up 1. Bring this into here. And then we can bring our multi-rail all the way to the end here. Into there. And then it's just a matter of looping everything out. So we're gonna have our micro feed of glass is gonna go a little bit further. So we'll take our first output from here. I guess I'll have to go down a bit and then bring it back up again. So we'll go from here. We'll take our large string of glass, which is this guy, bring him down, loop him around to here. So that'll be tubes, not glass. This will be our 4 machines worth of tubes. And then we'll do 1 more rail connector here. Bring this up. 1, 2. We'll grab our smaller feed of tubes. Wrap this around to here, and that'll feed our 5th machine. And then our glass is over here. We need to get this connected to this right here, which I made difficult by putting this here. So if we put this up 1, if I delete this temporarily, I should be able to loop this through. So we'll get rid of this. We'll pass this through to here. And we'll replace this, which was up 1, 2. Why is that suddenly not allowed? I've done this layout plenty of times. Is it? I think it's because of how close that is. So if we bring this back 1 more, Instead of going here, up one, if we go here, let's lock our Y, bring this back 1, 2, then place this to here. Can we now do this up 1, 2? We can, okay. That solves that problem, so we'll send this all the way through to here. Which means this will have to go back a bit further. This will go up 1, 2. Take this feed into here. Loop this around into here. There we go. And now we need to bring our glass into this side, which should be much easier. Take a rail connector, lock our Y. We can do this at height because everything's either above or below this. So glass into here. Then glass should be able to go in a straight line right to here. Right here. There we go. Okay, so let's set our recipes. You're already set. Applicators. 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 Whoa. Applicators. Here comes our tubes. Here comes our glass. We're tubing. We're applicating. We're not falling behind on production. Let me organize this a bit. Our tubes are taking a while to be distributed, but that should calm down once the internal buffers, because we calculated this exactly, and these are not coming from a dispatcher, so our ratios should be precise. So we'll let these back up. You're way full. So this is the 5 applicator producers we're going to need, and they're producing 15 per minute each, times 5 is 75 total, which we can definitely fit onto a V3 rail. So we'll modulate these back to the ends here. There we are. We technically have a buffer of 500 between all these machines. I don't know if we'll need an actual storage depot per se, but it can't hurt to have it because we have just extra space to spare here. So we'll align this to here, I suppose. And we'll set this to collect applicators. Here they come. Alright, next. So we have our applicators. We have our, let me move this up a bit, we have our sulfuric acid that we need to bring in via receiver, and we have our synthetic silicon that we need to bring in via receiver. Now, I know the dispatchers are set up for sulfuric acid. I don't know if I set up dispatchers for synthetic silicon, since those used to go directly into our chemical production. But we're going to need 150 per minute of sulfuric acid, so that's 1 receiver of sulfuric acid, and 75 of synth silicon, which is less than 1 receiver, barely worth dispatching at all. So 1 of each of synth silicon and sulfuric acid into 5 furnace V2s. This must be a very slow recipe. So we'll align these here, we'll lock our Z. We'll leave some space for some receivers here on the right. So maybe here, we'll go back 1, 2, and then 1. We might hit the water here. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Let's check our recipe for hardening agent. So it runs every 4 seconds. So we have 2 sulfuric acid every 4 seconds. 60 divided by 4 is 15, so 15 times 2 is 30. So this is 30 per minute times 5. 30 times 5 is 150. So everything, all these are all going to be able to fit onto a single V3 rail, so we can wire these up with 4 rail connectors, the same way we had already done previously. So we'll bring this down 1, 2. We'll put 1 at each of these locations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2 up. Lock our Z. 5. Then we're gonna need 1, 2 again. Lock our Y here and here. Now I don't know. We'll have to see if I can make this work. We don't have a gap here like we did before, but I don't know how well it's going to work having all these sandwiched directly next to each other like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we basically need to do something like a combination of our wave pattern. Let's see. If I run this first, can I place this connector here? I can. Okay. 1, 2. So I may have to do this incrementally instead of placing all the connectors at once, because I will need to do the wave pattern one at a time. So this will come into here. Oh, that's actually fine. So we have an extra gap here. And this will come out of this side into here. You'll come out of this side into here. And we'll do another wave pattern here. Okay, so it's just the bottom one that we need to worry about. So we'll delete the tallest one of each of these temporarily. And we shouldn't need to do the last one. And then we'll do our loop. So this needs to go for now. We'll do our wave for our lowest. That's right. I had to look at it for a second. It didn't look like it was going to work, but it should work because we just did it. So we'll go up 1, 2, 1, 2. There we go. So we'll wave all of our materials through here. You're going to come out and go into here. You're going to come into here. You're going to come into here. Now, I did not check. So we've got 1, 2. Nope, this sign should be fine because we can just come out directly here. In fact, this side doesn't necessarily need to come. It can just come straight from here, but it's fine. So you're going to come out of here. You're going to come out of here. 1, 2, 3. Make sure everything's coming through here. You're going to wave into here. You're going to wave into here. And then we just need to connect up our outputs here. So you're in 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we can just send our top one straight through. But I think just to keep up the pattern, we'll give it a wave. There. That probably looks a bit nicer than having one that's just completely straight. And then we can do out from here down to here for each one of these. There we go. There's all of our inputs hooked up. So we just need to get each of our materials into one of these 4 here. So we've got... What's going on here that you guys are... They're not getting enough tubes. Which is odd. Because we have plenty of tubes to be sent out. I wonder if this is another issue where we have too many connection points that are slowing it down ever so slightly to below the number that we need, because we need this to be at like a straight 480. but the more junction points you add, the more micro delay it adds. But we don't necessarily need these to be at 100%. Like, this isn't a maximum efficiency build, so we're producing more than we're going to need. More applicators we're going to need, so I don't know if we need those running perfectly efficiently. We'll let it slide for now. Otherwise, I have to go and rework this. And they're using rail modulators too for the tubes, and that's the fastest delivery. I'm not sure exactly how I would do that. Maybe break one of these off the end, so do 3 and 2 instead of 4 and 1. Anyway, not important at the moment unless we find out that we're not producing enough of our final components here for our hardening agent furnaces. So we have our applicators are all the way back here. And everything else is going to be coming in via drone dispatcher, right? Yes, yes, and pressurized helium is actually way back here. So we're going to need to break a feed off of this and bring this all the way forward, which is not the end of the world. We'll take a rail connector. Let's see, it's going to be on this row here. We'll lock our Y here. We'll take a rail connector here. This is going to be in the way of this rail. It should go right over the top of this rail. So we'll keep going to here. Let's see if that'll work. Out of our storage depot, into here, out of here, into here. Beautiful. Okay, so that gets us on the right row for our inputs here. So do we do this one straight through? Or would we raise this? You know what, let's raise this one up and then we can work everything else underneath this. So we'll put this here and we'll go up 1, 2, 1, 2, which should put us at level for this top row here. It does, and then we just need to go from here into here. Here comes our pressurized helium. Okay, now, applicators. We'll do this as the second highest here. We'll put this at this level. Let's lock our Y here. We'll go up 1, 2. From U to U, and from U to U. There we go. There's ingredient number 2. Now we're going to need 2 receivers, and we may have to run back and set up our synthetic silicon dispatching, but that's fine. So 1, 2. And we're going to need to... we're going to have to pass one of these by here, so I'll put this here, bring this down 1, 2. So you're going to come out into the outside, and then come in, and then you will just be a regular rail connector. The most boring of all connectors. Put into here. There we go. There's all of our feeds hooked up. So we just need 1 for... let's take our last guy here, TX5. I forget how much this has in it. We do have a synthetic silicon available. That's great. How much do we need? Let's double check that first. We need 150. I want to say our last sulfuric acid only had 120 in it. So let's actually, I guess, just set this to TX2 for now. And we'll call this SADC RX autosaving. RX2, confirm. And then we'll set this to our other synthetic silicon dispatcher. I don't know how much is actually hooked up to this, though, but I guess we'll find out. SLCN RX2. We'll let this receive. Here it comes. Boop. Okay. We got 100, so that's good. So let's set our recipes. You're gonna be hardening agent, hardening agent, hardening agent, and hardening agent. So let everything wiggle through here. It's kind of fun to watch. A little bit of pizzazz instead of just straight lines. Here, let's copy this so that we don't have the orange highlights everywhere. Comes our synth silicon. Okay. Well, we should be producing a whole boatload of hardening agent. So we have 5 every 4 seconds. So 60 divided by 4 is 15. 15 times 5 is 75, times 5 is 375. So these will fit in a single V3 rail on the collection side. And it's going to give us just enough room here to set up dispatching for whatever down the line is going to be using all of this hardening agent. But for our purposes right now, we're going to use this to hand in to some corporation. I forget who exactly wants it, but somebody is in the market for some hardening agent. So let's collect all of it. To the left, we're going to funnel this into a storage depot. We'll call this... Well, we don't have to call it anything. We're going to select hardening agent. Here they come. And finally, for now, we'll set up dispatching for this, but we're going to run this into an OCL. V2. We're going to send this to whom? Clever Robotics. Anybody else? Nope. Clever Robotics. Here you go. So while we wait for that to deliver, let's take a look at this little factory we made here. It's not the best organized factory I've ever done. I left a lot of space open because I didn't know what each of these lines are going to look like. I think if I were to have planned this ahead a bit more, I probably would have done these 3 guys on this line, just to kind of fill things up. And then we probably could have compacted... Well, I don't think we could have combined these 2. So it would have been an awkward shaped factory either way. So definitely not thumbnail material, but it does get the job done. Yeah, with all the V2 recipes that we have here, this is significantly more compact and ingredient efficient than it would have been if we had done this with all of the V1 factories. So I'm glad we held out a little longer than we normally would have in order to actually get something like chemicals and sulfuric acid and hardening agents set up, and applicators and tubes and glass and a number of other things that all work much, much better with the V2 recipes. So let's see. This is going to... We're almost halfway there. It's going to take a little bit longer.
Excellent.
And there we go.
Robotics has received its shipment. Claim your rewards in the terminal.
I did build a second one of these here just to speed this along. So let's break both of these down. We'll stick the rest of these hardening agents back in here. Gonna toss down a quick habitat just so we can claim our prize, which I think was the roundabout connector, which we're not gonna have any use for in this episode, but we'll have to see in a future episode if this has any actual use, because it was very, very interesting when I checked it out in the preview for Update 1. It's kind of slow, and it has diagonal connections, which nothing else in the game really functions on diagonal connections. But I did have an idea for this because this does, diagonal connections can actually get you out of some sticky situations where you have to like squeeze through some poles or between some things that running rails in an ordinal direction would not normally let you do. So I'm wondering if you put like a supported platform here and here, and we put a pillar support. Can't even put a pillar support here. What? It actually, it extends past its own tile. It interferes with tiles on the side. That is, that's odd. There's nothing else that I know of that acts like that. Normally things they fit inside the footprint. We can make this larger, I suppose. So if we have two pillars like this and like this. Now ordinarily if you had like a you had a rail connector right here, you wouldn't be able to get this through this gap here. But if you have two roundabout connectors, let's see, you can pass this diagonally through a gap between two pillars, so this could solve potentially some routing issues if you have a very complicated factory with pillar supports that are supporting something on the top row, and you box yourself into a corner with your rail routing. You can use this to slide diagonally through tight corners, but you do have to have this in the larger footprint mode, because if we just have this at a single tile, you can't actually place this here, though interestingly, well, yeah, if we go up one, it actually goes above those two pillars, so that would not, that wouldn't work out. Yeah, okay, so, I don't know, it's very, very situational. I don't know how often we're going to need 8 different connections, because again, the rails themselves tend to be the limiting factors, not the number of connections. But yeah, maybe we'll find a use for it in the future. But I think that's going to be where we're going to call it for this one, so let's get a view of this weird little factory that we made here. The highlight of this episode is definitely our chemical and sulfuric acid factories. This is the red-headed stepchild of the episode, but we love him just the same. So if you made it this far, thank you for watching. If you're enjoying this playthrough of StarRupture, hit like and subscribe. If you want to check out StarRupture for yourself, head on over to Steam and pick it up. And if you want to let me know what you think of the game so far, then hit the comments down below. But whatever you do, I'll see you right here again in the next one. So, until then, bye-bye.